us. It's time for Let's Talk Relationship. And Father's Day is on Sunday, and so we are celebrating our fathers. The celebration has begun right here on Prime Morning. And so happy Father's Day in advance to every single father out there. Okay.
To us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your father, right?
To us.
Your father, right?
Yeah, to us.
Your father, right?
To us. To all the fathers out there, you know, like, this year we're expecting that it was going to be better than it has always been. Really? Unfortunately, yes. I mean, we started a campaign this year, very early this year. You know, we're hoping and praying that it gets better than we've seen over the period. Unfortunately, it doesn't matter how much of a fight we put up. It looks as though that we're always going to be at the losing end, unfortunately. But then it's all good. If you're a father, pat yourself on the back and say you have done well. You know, very responsible fathers out there. You know, you've done super well for yourselves. But our conversation this morning would actually bring to light many of the things that a lot of fathers have done and still continue to do, you know, in our part of the world. We're going to be having some celebrity fathers also joining us, and they'll be sharing what they've been doing over the period, you know, as fathers as well. In studio, who do we have?
So in studio, Nathaniel Attoh is still in the building with us, and Nat.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you.
Always great to...
Glad to see you in the studio.
Yeah.
Not glad to have you.
Always
glad
good
to see you in the studio.
Yeah, always good to be on this side of the table or this side of the place where I get to be asked the questions.
Yeah. It's good. It's good when you're asking Nat a lot of questions. But, I mean, fatherhood. A bit later, we're going to be telling you some of the other fathers that will be joining us.
So actually, Okyeame Kwame is on. Yes, we've got Okyeame on. We've got...
who else do we have?
Adjetey. Adjetey Annang is also on. Yes, good morning.
Good morning, good morning.
How are you doing?
Good morning, good morning.
Charlie Okyeame, what combination of smoothie are you sipping on this morning?
I was going to ask.
I am just drinking dark cocoa.
Dark cocoa,
Cocoa, hot water. Yes.
Oh, yeah. In fact,
without sugar.
Very well, very well. We have to reserve a full day, you know, to talk about cocoa and, you know, especially dark cocoa, You know, it's
yes. Yes. It is very good for fathers, especially in the night.
Where are we headed? Okay. I didn't get the memo. I think now I'm beginning to know where we're headed.
Right?
Adjetey seems to agree with him a lot.
He's all smiles. Look, Adjetey is all smiles. It looks like they planned this. I'm not aware, unfortunately. But congratulations to all of you. You've done massively well for yourselves. In the kind of world we find ourselves where celebrities are always under the pressure of, you know, becoming responsible, because if you're not, then your case is going to be out there. You have all proven that indeed you're very responsible fathers who have taken upon themselves that responsibility of making sure that your children, you know, do not really come from the background where a lot of people would have to criticize you for being irresponsible. And congratulations to all of you. God bless you. We love you. We love you. We love you.
Thank you.
And you know, yesterday, Okyeame Kwame's son graduated. He was on social media. We saw the videos. Congratulations to him, Okyeame. But first, I want to ask you, how did that make you feel seeing your first child graduating from high school?
It was a beautiful experience. Very, very beautiful. Because, you know, there's no guidebook to this fatherhood thing. Yeah. And you are doing a plethora of things. You are helping him to get the necessary skill set, teaching him how to handle money, how to be respectful, how to be a team player, how to do this, how to love women. It's a lot of work. Right. But the most difficult one is that you must become all that you seek from him. And so it sharpens you to be on your toes. And, you know, watching my son graduate, and it was beautiful. It was a beautiful moment. I mean, a lot of emotions were going through my head. What if it wasn't an education? Where is he going from here? What if his direction changes? What if he gets a girlfriend in the near future and finds it difficult to, you know, all those things.
I see. Interesting. So, Kwame, just like yesterday, I saw, you know, your son grow up very little. How long have you been a father? And I'm going to ask all of you this question. Both Adjetey and we'll come to the studio with Nat as well. Let us know how many years you've all been fathers.
So for me, this is my 14th year.
14th year.
This is my 14th year. Yes.
Adjetey, yourself?
Yes.
This is my 8th year.
Okay. 14, 8, Nat. How many years?
I'm in my 8th year as well.
Okay. 8, 14. Yeah, this one, jackpot on Saturday. Single 8, 14.
No, not on Saturday.
Midweek.
No.
Okay, today's Thursday.
Friday
Bonanza.
Yeah, Friday Bonanza.
1488 or 1488.
Yeah.
Charlie Muncha. Okay, so now let's move on to the next question, which obviously will be when you found out that you were a father. Now, how was your reaction the very first time you realized that, okay, now I'm there, like this is it?
3 million things run through your head. I've been there on each day. I'm talking about every other day when, you know, I had a child, when my wife delivered. So on April 17, 2015, I was there. On September 28, 2 years later, I was there. Or a year and a half later, I was there. Don't ask me how I managed to pull that off. And of course, just about a year and a couple of months ago, on March 25, I was there as well. So that's Jeremy. That's my third born. He's a third child.
Okay.
You know, he was named by his elder sister. Now, I was just there, and my elder daughter comes to me and says, "Daddy, we want a baby brother." She comes back 3 months later to say the same thing, and, you know, it just keeps going on and on. So one day she comes to me and says, "Oh, like, you know, like the way peers have conversations."
Yeah.
So this is how she gestured. "Daddy, you know, we need to sit down and have a conversation about what name to give him." And this is what she did to me. Like, you know, I said, "Oh, okay, so what name?" And then she said, "Jeremy." And so I asked around a few friends, and they were like, "Oh, yeah." So that's Nora on the right, and Reina on the left. So Nora is the firstborn, Reina is the second. This picture was taken at the christening of my third born child. So that experience is something else. When Nora was born, I mean, immediately she was brought out. I was just standing there. I was just watching her, and the first thing that hit me was, oh, okay, her head is like my father-in-law's head. And then I was like, hey, my wife is there. I need to go take care of her. Yeah. And then I'm like, oh, the baby's here. You know, I can't describe it. I can't describe the emotion. I can't describe the sense of responsibility that hit me, because I come from a background where we were taught to be responsible. My late father, God bless his soul, passed on 20 years ago. And his experiences are what I base everything, my ideology about fatherhood on. And obviously it's based on how I've also indoctrinated myself. So it was a priceless feeling. It was, you know, I was just sitting there and I was saying to myself, wow, I also have the opportunity to transfer all the positive training, the values and the norms, and to shape the journey of an individual, just like mine was also shaped so many years ago. So it was a wonderful experience. I mean, all in all.
I'm actually like highly interested in the first time your wife came to you and said, "I'm pregnant."
You know what? The movies lie to us a lot.
Okay.
You know, you guys watch the movies and they say, "Oh man!" I think I was just.
It wasn't
calm.
like that with you.
You see, it felt like it was coming. Okay, it just felt like, you know, it was going to happen. You know, so yeah, I think I just said a congratulations, and I don't know. You know, something very regular, away from what you see on the movies. That's why I tell you, sometimes we all watch a little too much TV. But like I said, at that point as well, then I said to myself, okay, we are going to go through 9 months of a lot of work.
Yeah.
And of course, the women do 90% of the work. What you do is support. To the extent that sometimes, I mean, when there's pain, you are asleep and gone, and there's pain, there's, you know, there's a lot of crying and all of that. And sometimes you are limited as to what you can do. And like I said, again, it is the processing of the journey and what is about to happen, the processes you're going to go through before that moment comes. And you're looking forward to it. I mean, I kept asking myself, hey, so after 9 months, me too, somebody will start calling me daddy and all of that, you know. Yeah, it was a great feeling. It was a great feeling.
Yeah.
One quick one, though, you know, and these are the new things you discover as you go along. When my first daughter was born, you know, so the first day we brought her home, you know, laid the bed nicely, everything nicely done, put her in a cot, it was okay, time to sleep, put off the lights. After 5 minutes, okay, mother wakes up, my wife wakes up, breastfeeds her, you know, she goes to sleep. Okay, nice. So lights off again, go to bed. After 3.5 minutes, I said, hey, Charlie, the TV so
Okay. Now, same reaction from Adjetey, or yours probably is different from his.
No, not that different. I mean, mine. The whole thing was surreal to me. It was as if life had been put on hold because I could see a living being being taken out of another. And you know, even though I've watched movies over and over again, I've even acted scenes that, you know, were similar, I still did not, you know, see this as something that was I was used to. It was something unreal, and so I was just stuck there for a moment before, you know, I heard the babies cry, and then I came back to reality. But it's a beautiful thing to see, and I pray that all fathers have the opportunity to do so, and even appreciate our women more, because it's definitely not an easy thing. But it was such a blessing, because as I'm sure most of you know already, it took us about, I think we gave birth on the 7th year of our marriage, and so we have been hoping and looking forward to that day. And so when it came, it added a lot. It made it very special. Yeah.
All right, it's the special part for me, man. Kwame. How was your reaction
for me? That when my wife told me she is pregnant, my heart could. I panicked. I was shocked. I wasn't expecting it.
Why?
And I was, you know,
you already done the do. The next is to expect what will come out.
I was doing the thing, but I didn't want a pregnancy at that time.
Okay.
So when she said she was pregnant, like every single cell in me vanished. My spirit vanished, because a lot of things came into my head. Hey, will I be successful? How? Then my wife is also going to lose her shape, and she's going to carry this thing for 9 months, and she's going to be spitting, and we are going to. I mean, it was just negative thoughts that kept coming. I just feared. I feared completely. So there was, and then later I had to prepare myself into accepting that this is about to happen. And then as the pregnancy grew, I now became fascinated by the size of her stomach. And then doctors told me to give my wife social support. So I became a bit more sensitive to her needs and would be listening to the baby inside. Then I started creating a bond, a much deeper bond with my wife. Okay. And therefore a deeper bond with my son. So both times that I was told that my wife was pregnant, I feared. I will be honest. It wasn't a pleasant feeling. It's complete fear.
But initially, how many kids did you plan on having, though?
I wanted to have 3 kids, you know. But my wife didn't want to have any children at all. When we got married, she said, she said that she doesn't want to have children. She wants to work, make a lot of money, and travel the world. Oh. You know, so we did a negotiation, and I spoke to a wise man, and he said, "Oh, these things we don't negotiate." So we negotiated and ended on 1. And so when I got 1 through, the other one also accidentally, God put it there. You know, so, and then after the second one, she became wise. and she went to block the place.
Oh, okay. Okay, I see.
Yes. So I was looking for 3, but after the second one, she went to do what friend then family planning. So
so they have blocked the place.
All hope is gone. He blocked the place.
Anyway, now Kwame, you spoke about fear. I'm interested in how you overcame the fear. You know, did you have to speak to a psychologist? Did you have to speak to your parents, you know, for them to let you understand where you've got into and why you should just go ahead?
No. I didn't speak to anyone. I just it was like so strange. So I just observed what was happening, and then I began imagine how nice it would be to have a daughter that has my face and my wife's body. You know, and it was an interesting thing. And, you know, after a while, I realized it was going to be a son. And I became excited. I'm going to have a son that looks just like me. You know, he's going to rap. He's going to do this. You know, so it took a lot of time, maybe 2 months. But every time I thought of it, it was strange, you know. And then I garnered the confidence to go to the delivery room to go and see it. But my wife tricked me. She didn't let me see it. You know, so at this point, I wasn't even afraid anymore. I wanted to go and see the delivery. But she tricked me. About 2 hours to the delivery, she said that she wants to eat gabins. So this lady sent me on a useless errand throughout the whole of Kumasi, looking for gabins in the evening around 5. You know, so I went to Bantima and I called my mom. I said, Anika says she wants gabins and she's at the hospital. Can you make some for me? So my mom, you know, 14 years ago, beans, it will take you 2 days to cook a bowl of beans.
Yeah.
I don't know why now. Now beans cook quicker. You know, so she
times will change.
Found beans.
You soak it.
She found beans. Put it on fire. So by the time I drove from Bantima to Kentinkono, Anika called me that I have delivered.
That's all. What do you go do?
Yes. She didn't let me see it.
I see. Let's look at similar stories. Now, tell us about your story too. Delivery room, were you there?
I've been there on all 3 occasions, yes. And I didn't want to be anywhere else.
Why that decision?
Well, it's also the bit about support and the togetherness. I mean, I feel that you don't want to leave the woman to go through all of that pain alone. You have to be there. It's not like you are feeling the pain physically, but the moral support is very, very important. And I want to be there. Look, my late father was a gynecologist, delivered like 1 trillion children. And those being in a hospital environment, being with people who are in pain, being in that situation, doesn't, it doesn't really do anything. I'm not like everybody else, you know. So I was there, you know, I saw everything from start to finish. I drove her from home when she was in labor. I was at dawn, I remember very well, on a Friday. I was born on a Friday. My son was born on a Friday. You know, my mom was born on a Friday. My sister was born on a Friday.
How did I come on Friday too? I don't get it.
I don't know that one. So, you know, so I was there, I saw it. And like I said, I mean, just push, and woof, there she is, you know, with this head. And like I said, I was just thinking about my father-in-law. But you talk about cravings, and, you know, Okyeame Kwame was talking about cravings for beans. My wife, before the delivery of our first child, at one Sunday evening, around 11 p.m., said she wanted to eat kiliwili. And Charlie, kiliwili, 11 p.m., you know, especially when you've dozed off and your eyes are all, you know.
And until that is given,
he said he won't chop. He said he won't chop kiliwili. And you know, the craving thing is very, very interesting. At the moment they tell you they want to drink beer, and a particular brother, I want to drink Star beer. I said, actually, so if Star beer finish for a crowd, I will go past. You know, that kind of thing. So it's very interesting. The second one, we'd been through it before, we'd seen it before. So hey, I think her delivery came in like faster than I expected. You know, we just were there. I turned around the next minute. You know. The third one, Niaite, is a very stubborn kid. Gave his mother a lot of hell. You know, I mean, at a certain point, my wife was walking at 45 degrees. She had to bend to walk for about 3 months. She couldn't walk up straight. So it was a very, very difficult pregnancy. And I'm told that the myth about boys and when you have pregnancies with boys. I'm sure Adjetey can share a similar story. So he was born on the 25th of March. You remember that day when the Black Stars were trying to qualify for the World Cup, and we had this Ghana-Niger war.
Yeah.
So that game that was played in Kumasi, he was born in the morning, the game was played in the evening. So I watched the game, you know, in the OPD of the hospital. Yeah. So,
that's a lot of
but this was a cesarean. So once again, I sat there, watched the whole procedure. And of course, big shouts to Dr. Chidima Piso Hachenu, a solid pediatrician. Now she's a gynae. Solid woman. She performed the surgery, and I sat there and watched. I
love that watching experience. But Adjetey, what's your situation like?
You mean what was or what is?
No, okay, your reaction. You know, being through the process. Were you there at the hospital, or you were scared, so you decided to let her go alone?
Yeah. No. I was right there. It was also cesarean, and as I mentioned earlier on, it's you can't describe it, and Nat's already alluded to that it's so surreal. You think that you're in a movie. You can't feel yourself because you're seeing something that you don't see every day, and people think that it's. Where women are meant to give birth, but the process of delivery, it's something else, and you have to be there to experience it yourself. You don't have much words to describe it, and of course, I'm always put off by blood, and so that was my fright before the cut. I was really dreading it, but I braced myself for it, and I said I didn't want to miss any moment of this procedure because she was not awake. And so she's going to ask me questions because once I'm there and I need to take in all the details. And so I had to go through, the smell of blood and the whole place. And it was really tasking on me. But thankfully, I pulled through. I didn't collapse. I remember a few people came in there and fainted. Some husbands faint at the sight of blood and cut, but I pulled through, so I was thankful. But it was a beautiful experience.
Interesting experiences over there. I said, well, I'm interested in some of the moments that you spend with your kids, and how you're able to navigate through the idea of not wanting to give them too much to make them feel that, you're comfortable, you can do just anything, but also you're trying as much as possible not to deprive them of anything, as a father. These are some of the conversations that we'll be having when we come back from this breather. Stay with us. We're still here, and we're celebrating fathers.
Right, and we are back. Thank you for sticking and staying with us. We are still on Let's Talk Relationship, and we are celebrating our fathers. The celebration has begun right here on Prime Morning. We have our celebrity fathers on with us for this discussion, and so far it's been very interesting, very entertaining as well. And I can't wait to find out what exactly Adjetey Annang, Okyeame Kwame, and Nat do, when it comes to spending time with their kids. What memorable or what memories they have. Kemjo, why don't you have a child? Are
you ready? Are you ready for 9 months?
Right, so
it would take us only 2 minutes. 2 minutes maximum.
You are letting off too much information.
You understand?
I don't have time to suffer. 2 minutes maximum. You go 9 months and expect twins too. Now, Nat, so if it's a firstborn, that's special. Like some of the moments you spend with firstborns. I mean, obviously, it's the first time that you get to know about moving the child here and all of that. Let's look at that journey. How beautiful is that journey?
Well, it is very, very rewarding in the sense that it gets you to try to transfer from language to mannerisms to every other thing that makes, a person, worthy of being in the society or being within a family system or being within all the institutions of socialization. Look, remember trying to get them to speak their first words and all of that. I remember the very first bye-bye that my daughter said was at Christ the King Parish. opposite the presidency. We had gone for mass, and she said the bye-bye to a friend of mine, a lawyer friend of mine, waved at, and she said bye-bye for the first time. Whoa. I remember getting home and seeing her walk. And it was such a, very random thing. I mean, she crawled in the corridor. The next thing, she turned around, she got up and she just walked up to me. I was like, my daughter. And my wife didn't seem too fascinated about it because I'm sure she had already seen it happen, but she didn't tell me, you know. And you see those things like Adjetey has said, and I'm sure we'll repeat it a couple of times before we wrap this up, that you cannot describe the feeling sometimes. Sometimes you don't know whether you should shed tears or, you know, because somebody saw you walk. Now you are also supervising the process of seeing somebody walk. And of course, you buy all these walkers, you try to hold their hands and teach them to take their steps and all of that. It's amazing. And I also remember the first time that we took her to school. I was very worried because scared everything, because she was so used to us, used to everybody she sees at home, used to my mother, her grandmother. Now she's going to this environment where, you know, there are so many toys around, so many other kids like her around. Guess what? We took her into the, you know, this was daddy daycare. Philip Ayesu's wife, Irene Ayesu, at East Legon. We just went through the gate. And then the next thing, she just started crawling, you know, on the floor, you know, started playing with the people, and that was it. Because I was expecting a lot of resistance and a lot of crying that I want to go home with you. No, none of that. She just went into the environment, settled down, and moved along with everybody else. Simple as that, you know. At age 3, she went up to the president very confidently. We were at church, at Red Church, and you know, normally the kids are brought up birthdays and, you know, children blessings are done after the communion. So Nanado is seated there with Auntie Becky, and, you know, the kids come over to, you know, at this time she was 3, the first one, Nora. Says, Mommy, look at the president of Ghana, Nana Akufo-Addo. God! The president was so excited. And guess what? That day of all days, we didn't have the video system working, like the, you know, the media, you know, the system working in the church. It hadn't worked for about 2 weeks. So I kind of like had a feeling she was going to be doing that, because over the period, what I was also doing was that I was telling them, this is Ephraim Amu. This is former President Rollins. This is Grandpa J. Kufuor. He was your grandfather's very good friend. You know, I was trying to link everything nicely. This is Azumah Nelson. I have an Azumah Nelson book. You know, she sees it. She you know, and just about 2 weeks ago, she was talking about how, Azumah Nelson looks very young in this picture. I said, yes, because then he was a younger man. You know, so I think that in terms of socializing them, it is always very important that you get them to know who make up their society before you move out of here. You get me? So that day, she walked up to the president and she held her sister by the hand. This is my sister, Reina. She said, hey, Akolawi.
That's nice.
Kwame, you have 2, and Nat has a boy too as well, but you have 2, a boy and a girl, who are, you know, relatively almost at the same age, you know, growing up together and all of that. How's the experience raising them?
Well, it's not an easy thing, because I am raising, or I'm nurturing a masculine and a female. And sometimes, because they are also trying to find themselves, sometimes they challenge each other to find out what level of resistance they can push, to find out, okay, this is how I'm feeling inside. How are you also feeling inside? How do you deal with stress? Because, you know, boys deal with stress differently, girls deal with stress differently, and they have 2 completely different personalities. My son is just like me. He has energy. My son, just on a Sunday when we don't go anywhere, he's wearing a smartwatch, and from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m., he has already walked about 20,000 steps, just going up and down. But when you watch him alone, by looking at him, you can become tired. But my daughter, just like my wife, is quiet. He doesn't like to talk too much. He doesn't have too much energy to expend. She's saving it for the right time. This guy is trying to get her along, you know, and he's like, you are too quiet. This one is saying you are too loud. It is an interesting thing to watch. It's an interesting thing to sort of manage. And because I am also nurturing a woman and I have never been a woman, and I am also developing my feminine energy through the relationship with my wife and my children, I'm also observing her and watching her now as a preteen develop breasts and developing hips. And I'm thinking, when are the boys coming here? Should I get a gun? You know, so it is a very interesting concept. And this one likes to eat sugar. This one doesn't like sugar at all. This one doesn't like to eat meat. Eat this one. They are two different people, two different individuals, as though it is not two people that gave birth to them. So it is a very interesting thing. For me, honestly, I'm not doing anything. All I'm doing is just observing. I am just looking. I'm looking without prejudice. I'm looking without expectations. I'm just looking at both of them turn out into what they should become without pushing down my fears onto them. You know, so I am just looking. I don't do much. When I can, I come home, I have a conversation with them, but it is just an observation.
Yeah. Charlie, just before he comes in, he raised a very important point. Now, you know, there's a playground at East Legon called Kolabo. It's on the Mensa Wood Avenue. Yeah. So I remember a couple of years ago, my first daughter, we're talking about first daughter moments. So I go there with her, we're playing, and then this Indian woman and her son, she says, oh yeah, talk to her, talk to her, ask her out for a drink. And I'm sitting there and say, hey, hold on, relax. and then the other day, I dropped my daughter off in school, and she sees this boy. And the boy says, Nora Simone. And then the guy, she also mentions his name. I think it was Ray or something. Ray! And then they run and go and give each other a very big, tight hug. And I'm standing there helpless. I'm like, allow. Hold on, wait. Charlie. It's allowed. Adjetey, I don't know. I think a lot of people, as it were, do not see much of you and your kids, out there. People have even lost count how many you have in terms of the numbers. You hardly put anything out there with your kids. Well, I've seen a few, and all of that. But how do you manage that? You look as if that you're always keeping it to yourself. Well, those beautiful moments.
I think that like Kwame also said, you're sort of feeding off their energies to finding out what their preferences are, and you're going alongside that. Just guide, as it were, but don't enforce your own views on them. And one thing that for me is clear is that I knew the kind of challenges I had when I was being raised up. But that was great. But there were a few areas that I thought could have been better. And I don't fault him. I don't blame him. That was the best that he could do. But hindsight, I'd want to improve on the things that I didn't like, the things that I wish that went my way. I'd want to improve so that my son, experiences those. Then it gets better and better. And so for me, it's more of he's not really particular about social media, the craze of this generation, and so the occasions where we say that, oh, can we post this on Instagram? Then I do that, or I would have to ask her. I don't just ask him. I just don't get up and then post a family picture without his views. And I think that it makes him very, very responsible and independent and been respected. That he's also a human being who has his preferences and desires. But one thing that I do most often is, one of the things that I didn't also experience is, bonding with him, and as Okyeame and Nathaniel have also said, is paying particular attention to what their interest or his interest is. And so I realized that, okay, of course, for any young people, cartoon animations, would be one of the things that they engage in. And I'm being made to watch cartoons. And I know from blaze machines to those 3 kids who are saving the world, to lots of characters, and I have to be, to be involved, because he really likes it when I'm there, and he's telling me about what this character does and all that, and the values, blah blah blah, and also particularly deliberate, because these days you never know what your kids are watching, because they're throwing all sorts of material out there, and so we either sort of go through some cartoons and then download for him to watch, or we're watching it together, so that if there are any issues that are coming up, we address it there and there. But otherwise, I give him the free way. We talk a lot, especially when I pick him from school. There's moments where I'd want to find out what are the subjects that they are talking about in school with his friends. What is it? Are they talking about girls? Are they talking about? And then I sort of talk to him about it. I don't shut him up. I just give him an option. Oh, try this time. Try this and see whether this is okay. But it's not too cool to call somebody that name because it's rude, And then we have a conversation. I mean, in the past it would be, you dare not say that. You get a beating immediately, But I think that today, where fathers have improved, like Nat, like Okyeame, Kwame, is really give the young people the room to express themselves, because that's the only way you really know what is at the core, that is hidden. And if you don't give them that room, they're going to hide things, and then they're going to, now push it elsewhere, and they would get maybe the wrong advice and direction. And so this is what I spend my time doing, and it's a lot of hard work, because you have to be deliberate, make those times and bond with them.
Okay. Now, being a public figure, I'm sure there is one aspect of the situation that your children would also want to learn from you or get to know from you. Now, out of curiosity, maybe your child does not know, but we know that you are a legend in this space where we have so much memories of you and what you have done in the past. Out of curiosity, has your child, one way or the other in the conversation, said something about his father and what his father did in a space where, the arts industry experienced a certain character that influenced so many people in different ways, those working like Adjetey Annang, Pusha, and all of that? Does he really get to know of some of these things and talk to you about them? Daddy, I went to school, somebody was saying that my dad used to walk like this. He used to talk this way.
Yeah, he does that. I mean, look, there was this one occasion where they had, the mom and him had gone out to eat at the restaurant, and they had ordered the meal, and he noticed that other people were getting the meal, and he asked the mother that, why have they not brought our order? But don't they know that you are the wife of Adjetey Annang? And he's aware of what I am in the space that I am in. He just doesn't as it were, sing it out of context. When something happens, then he would try to address that's my daddy, so give him the best preferential treatment on all that. And he asks questions about the Pusha thing. It's something that he's intrigued about, but he wouldn't want to be what I am, because he doesn't want too much attention when it comes to the camera or social media space, and that's fair with me.
How does it feel, watching all of that, seeing all of that? Do you think that sometimes you might be scared that he may, interpret it differently from what you see it as an act?
Well, I'm still on the lookout, and I've not yet, had that or suspected him going in a certain direction as far as his ideology is with regards to show business and celebrity status, etc. But I just know that he's not like me. I was like him, but things changed. Okay, but I'm still observing. He's still growing. He's still very young, but I'm still observing and guiding as much as possible, because you wouldn't want to, as it were, if I've experienced some bad, I've had some bad experiences in my journey, I wouldn't want to say that, oh boy, you're not going to be an actor, no way, keep to this or that. I'm just going to allow him to make his own choices. and then just guide as much as I can. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Okyeame Kwame.
Yes.
What kind of a father are you? Are you a disciplinarian? Are you fun? You know, always wanting to have fun with your kids, leaving them to do whatever they want to do and all that. What kind of a father are you?
I don't beat my children. I think it is the most barbaric thing for a human being to do. Because I don't think that, I think it's violent. Not too long ago, someone beat a 14-year-old boy in Swedro in a school because he didn't finish his homework or something like that, or he didn't get all correct, and the boy died 2 days after the beating. I don't want to say the beating that killed the boy, but we don't know what would have happened if she didn't beat him. I don't beat my children. I think it is very wrong. It is cruel. However, I do not pamper my children. I use the concept of the mirror neurons through role modelism. Whatever I want my children to do, I will do it. If I want my children to respect women, I will respect my wife. I want them to eat in a healthy way, I will eat in a healthy way. I want my children to have independent learning abilities. I will be learning at home. I want them to work hard. I work hard. I want them to be disciplined. I wake up in the morning, I lay my bed, I sweep my room. On Sundays, I cook and clean the dishes. So just through the concept of role modelism. When my son was about 3, this is about 11 years ago, I was, my wife said that she wanted eggs. So I went to the kitchen to fry eggs. For at that time, I ate eggs, to fry some eggs for it. And then my son came to the kitchen in the morning and he said, "But daddy don't cook." I said, "Hey, okay, really? Is this what I'm giving my children?" So from that day, I started paying that. From that day, I started paying attention, and I started to develop in a way that I do not have to beat my children. Now, when they do things I disagree with, for example, say something that is rude or misbehave or something, I will rather take away something. So if we have maybe a summer trip to Barbados, you are not going. Okay. Or I will take your laptop, I will take your phone. The most valuable thing in my house is screen time, because I don't watch TV, you know, so that we don't watch regular TV at home. We have a TV, but it's been on for the past 10 years, you know, so the most valuable thing is screen time. Time to spend. So on Friday evenings, we do a movie night in my bedroom. Yeah. And we watch a movie. And if you have not behaved, if you have not studied, if you have not behaved like a human being, you are not fat. You will be in your room sleeping. And those are the little valuable things. I let them put their hands in my food. When I'm eating, bring a spoon. They can come and drink some of my tea. I do not have a special bowl that I eat from. You know, so those things, those are the little valuable things that we do together. But if you misbehave, I just say that I'm disappointed in you, and because of that,
and it works all the time.
Are not doing this. Yeah, so far, so good. I think we will know whether it has worked or not when they are both left home. When they have left home and they are integrated in the society. But I really do not support the beating of my children. I think it is, or not just the beating, or the shouting at the children, the scolding, all that, because everything that fear can do, love can do it, and it will have a much longer lasting effect.
Right, okay. Now, Nat, fathers say we don't celebrate them enough. What exactly are we doing wrong? Like, you know, before the show started, KMJ, even in the intro, right when Prime Morning was starting, he mentioned it, that we don't celebrate fathers enough. We are not doing enough. We haven't spoken about Father's Day on Prime 180. Today that we are talking about Father's Day. But then if it was Mother's Day, we would have started like a year ahead and spoken about it and all that. What exactly are we doing wrong?
I think this is a default setting. This is something that happens all the time, and we don't need any research to know. I mean, it's out there. every year, by every calendar, you observe what happens across board, and you realize that mothers are celebrated much more. Now, the structure of parenting in itself gives a lot more attention and a lot more focus on mothers. Here we are, we're building up to Father's Day, and we've spent a lot of the time also talking about mothers and our wives, because of the fact that when it comes to parenting, they play the role of physically nurturing and delivering the fetus in the form of a baby. So all those processes that they go through, coupled with the fact that majority of the time, whether we like it or not, the mother will be with the child because of things like breastfeeding, putting them to sleep, feeding them and all of that, bathing them, which is something that the mothers do 99% of the time. We tend to throw a lot more focus on motherhood. Now, by the structure of parenting, we men, are supposed to go out there and go and fight, break our backs, get resources, and bring it home to support the family. This is a biblical thing. It has happened from all of those times, and it's still happening now. Yeah. You get me? So I believe that that is part of the reason why we get to see this happening a lot. Also, the phenomenon of irresponsible fathers is something that has affected our image greatly. So because of that, we don't tend to celebrate the things that we do. Yeah. But I belong to a generation, or I have come from a lineage of responsible parenting, responsible fatherhood, the setting of standards, and the transfer of positive values from one generation to the other. So because of that, I am putting myself within a generation of fathers who make positive impact, fathers who are present in the lives of their children, fathers who are ready as well to correct the mistakes of yesteryear, so that they can create a positive image of fatherhood based on which the children can have a certain mark that they can aspire to, also build on and do better than. So that if I have a son, and that's my son there, I'll tell you a little bit about this video very shortly, but as we go and as we come in, Okyeame Kwame made a very important point about exemplary parenting or exemplary fatherhood, where you're saying something, you have to do it and act it so that the child can also take a cue from it. And it's very, very important. I'll give you a very simple example. Driving and texting. It's one thing that we're all guilty of. And sometimes, you're on the phone, there's an important call coming to you. You've connected this thing to Bluetooth, all right, but you need to reach for your handset and do something, and sometimes I nudge myself and I'm like, hey, listen, these kids are watching. On the day when you send them to a driving school or you try to give them lessons in driving and they put one hand on the steering wheel and another hand on a phone just because they see you do that, then you'd see how much damage you've done. You understand me? Yeah. So it is very critical that we push very hard to change the narrative about fatherhood. It is very, very important. Okay.
All right. So, Adjetey Annang, we'll take this quick one from you. Unfortunately, our time is up, but we'll take this quick one. So, would you say, from where that is coming from, irresponsible fathers have contributed to the issue of we not getting the celebration that we really wish that we would have every year? Yeah, Adjetey, if you can hear me, please unmute your microphone.
Sorry. Yeah, I was saying that definitely that plays a role. I think that we must be honest that there have been good examples, and there equally have not been good examples. Those who have checked their responsibilities, and so that has been on a bit high, and so men are seen as those who do not even deserve that. But I think that the world is changing, and men are becoming more responsible. Men are becoming more involved in the raising of their kids, and because I think there's a whole generational move for men not to think that the home is for the woman. We need both the parties to survive and make the home a home. And so I think that there's a lot of work that we, so the likes of Nat and Okyeame Kwame and me and the rest, have to do to change that, and so we're on the journey, and we need your support.
Right.
Yeah. Collectively, we'll get there.
We'll do our very best to celebrate you more.
Charlie, see it, but quick one. Look at this video. Okyeame Kwame was talking about things that children pick up and their interests. My son mentioned the word car. That's the first word that, and now he's added car key. Now, you dare not take away the car key from him. So you see over there, this was, I think this was his first haircut.
Okay, so he's holding the car key.
The car key. If you take the car key away from him, there is trouble.
Right, okay. So, gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. Adjetey Annang, Okyeame Kwame, Nathaniel Attoh, thank you for sharing your experiences of fatherhood with us right here on Let's Talk Relationship. Let me use this opportunity to say a huge thank you to my father, retired DCOP Kwame Nkrumah. I love you, Daddy. You've been amazing in our lives. When I was in Wesley Girls, my dad used to buy my brazier for me.
Yeah.
Like he would look at my breast. He knows my bra size, and he will buy the exact bra size.
He knows the size of what it is right now.
You understand?
We salute you.
Yeah.
DCOP.
Does he know the size of what it is right now?
He knows my bra size right now.
Daddy, I'm taking over from you. I'll be buying the braziers. Regards going out to you, Lizzie. You're watching this morning. Why?
Why are you taking over from me?
He's bought enough. Let me continue. I'm dedicating my life. Big shout out to you, Lizzie. You're watching right now. We want to wish all the fathers out there, a very, very big congratulations. It's not easy, when you're struggling to make sure that you put the home in a very good perspective, in a very good shape and all that, and yet you're not getting the recognition.
And fathers do amazing, especially when they have a lot of children, and then it looks like some are getting the attention more than others.
Yeah.
It was at some point it was like that in my family. It looked like my father was giving me more attention than my brothers. So at some point they questioned my dad, my brothers. They questioned him that. It looks like he loves me more than them. He's giving me more attention than them. Because I'm a first girl, I'm a first child. So, automatically that attention was there. But he loves us equally.
But you see,
equally.
The two ladies on this show, they have a problem.
Hey.
Now, okay, so the problem is not me.
Ghana Police Service is waiting for you. You have to go and take your father's place. And the general's daughter. The general's daughter also has to go. I will make sure that thing happens.
But I want to say a big thank you to all of you for coming through this morning. Nathaniel Attoh, Adjetey Annang, and of course, Okyeame Kwame, the rap doctor. God bless you, and we wish you the very best in your endeavors. Now, we're coming back tomorrow to wrap it all up for this week, right?
Yeah, and we'll still be celebrating you, our dear fathers, okay? Yeah. So, and then don't forget to bring in your pictures of your fathers and messages. We'll do that for you.